everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's Fun Scroll Saw project video, we have our final Halloween design for 2024. I've already got the pattern printed out to its full size, prepped, and attached to our material with clear packing tape, and it's going to be more construction grade plywood. I think the grain texture is really going to pop in today's video, and I hope you guys have liked the Halloween designs that I have brought to the platform this year, and I hope in some way, shape, or form that I have inspired you guys to go out into your garage or workshops and try a creative Halloween design for yourselves. But this is the week of Halloween. I'm so excited. Halloween also happened to be my late grandfather who taught me all the woodworking. It was his birthday on Halloween, so I have fond memories of dressing up as a character and then going and spending time with him, you know, having a meal with him dressed up as a character, and then going out into the neighborhood or over to the local mall to do trick-or-treats or trunk-or-treats in the neighborhood. So those are fun and nostalgic memories for me. But speaking of characters, there is a very classic and iconic character that often gets overlooked. Of course, Frankenstein and monsters like that usually take the forefront when it comes to the Halloween. But the one that I always think of when you say Halloween is the mighty werewolf, and that's what today's design is. This is a newer Steve Good design if you guys would like to go into his catalog and download it and try it for yourselves. And again, it's going to be all construction grade plywood. It does call in Steve's pattern pack for 1/2 inch material. All that is prepped for these 3 layers except for the backer board here. I didn't have enough 1/2 inch material, so this is 3/4 inch construction grade plywood for the backer board, but I'll show you the design now. The backer board itself is the outline and profile of the werewolf's face here, and then with the next layer you start getting more and more detail, so you have the werewolf's ears and some of the fur texture there, and then the next layer is his fearsome eyes, you know, looking out for the prey and everything on the Halloween night, and then the top layer is his nose and teeth. There you see the sharp werewolf teeth. Of course, I love all the classic Halloween characters, whether they be modern characters or traditional Hollywood era characters, and I'm really excited to bring this project to life. With it being 1/2 inch material, I believe once we get to the finishing stages, it's going to really make the project pop and give it a 3D effect. Of course, I think you could also cut it out of thinner 1/4 inch material and stack cut and make multiples of the project, but it might not have as nice of a 3D appearance once everything is finished. And since we are now into the cooler months out here in the workshop, I'm going to go about the project a little bit differently. I'm going to cut the backer board out completely, and then we're going to step away from the scroll saw and sand this up and get it painted, because it's going to be painted black, and that will just allow the paint to have that much more time to dry out here in the cool workshop now that we don't have the summer heat to help accelerate drying time. And while this is drying, we'll proceed to scrolling out the rest of the project, because all of this will get stained and everything. And the werewolf's eyes are going to be a nice red texture, and I'll show you guys how I will achieve that in the video. But since everything is prepped and prepared, let's move the camera over to the workbench, drill the pilot holes required so we can step over to the scroll saw and begin our final Halloween scroll saw project of 2024. And over here on the workbench, we'll take the Seiko Scroller's drill and drill out all of the pilot holes for internal cutting. There's only about 24 or 25 cuts on this project, so not very many at all. And we will head over to the scroll saw and begin by cutting out the backer board so we can get it sanded up nice and smooth to where it can be painted and begin the drying process. Of course, with the weather getting cooler, it takes longer for the paints I use to dry than it does the wood stains. So I want to go on and get it painted. And we will sand it with Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper, both the front and back side. And I'll set it by the door and spray paint it with a black Rust-Oleum spray paint. And I'll double check to make sure I have all of the surface area covered with the paint. And I will also spray paint a piece of scrap poster board material red for the werewolf's eyes, and I'll set these pieces aside to dry. But then we can head back over to the scroll saw and continue scrolling. I'll begin with the werewolf's eyes here. For me personally, this was the most tedious part to cut out, because you want the werewolf's eyes to look like werewolf eyes and also be symmetrical. For all of the scrolling on this project, I'll be using a number 5 Ultra Reverse Tooth Blade, and it will cut through the upcycled construction grade plywood exceptionally well with minimal chip out. And if you guys would like to try this design, is available as a free pattern download over at Steve Good's scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com website over in his free pattern catalog. I am taking my time, of course, and letting the blade do the work. There is some sharp hairpin turns in this project to simulate the werewolf's fur and mane and everything. I'm just being as loyal as I possibly can be to the cut line. But it doesn't take long at all to cut out this project, and soon I was finishing up with the internal cuts, the werewolf's ears here. And then it will be time to release all of the pieces from the waste wood. And this will simply be following that long outside perimeter cut line on these 3 pieces. Again, still using that same number 5 Ultra reverse tooth blade. If you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. As you can see here, as we are cutting out the final piece here, all of those sharp hairpin turns to simulate the werewolf's mangy fur. But when I come back around, all of the scroll saw work on this final Halloween project will be complete. And then we can prepare to head over to the workbench and remove all of the pieces from the waste wood. And here is where we get our first real visual of what the finished project will look like. But now we can head over again to sanding, and I'm using 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper in the vibrating palm sander, sanding the front and back side of both pieces. And during all of this time, the backer board is over by the door drying. But we will add some additional splashes of color to these pieces. I will be using 2 shades of Minwax wood stain. I'll use a lighter shade for the actual face, the snout, and the teeth, and then a darker shade for the backer piece here that has the werewolf's fur. And I'm really happy with how this looked once I wiped off all of the excess. But I will set everything aside to dry. And after it dried, it was time to begin the glue up. And I have a picture from Steve Good's pattern pack saved to my phone so I can know how to properly assemble the project. And I'll be using medium grade CA glue and activator. And I still like to use spring clamps to help apply pressure to the pieces to make sure the glue grabs. But I am cutting that red poster board for the werewolf's eyes here. And I will tack those in place with dots of CA glue. And then we can begin to do the final glue up and assembly here. Doesn't take long at all when you're using the CA glue, but I will still walk away for around 5 minutes and make sure the glue cures and dries properly before removing the clamps and prepping for the finish. And for the finished, I used several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss. And once that dries, the project is complete. And here we have the completed Mighty Werewolf Portrait, cut out completely over on the scroll saw from start to finish, and it finished up amazingly well with some beautiful and crisp details in it. Thank you, Steve Good, for another fantastic design from your pattern catalog. Once again, it's one of his newest pattern offerings from 2024 in case you guys would like to go and download it and try it for yourselves. Everything here came out nice and crisp, and I'm really happy with it, and I hope you guys are too. It took me around 35 to 40 minutes to scroll the project out completely from start to finish. It's not an overly complex design. It's just with the nature of some of the cuts, some of the smaller cuts like the eyes can be tedious. So I did what I always do, and I took my time and let the blade do the work, and I hope the results speak for themselves here. And you guys seen in the time-lapse portion that we went about things a little bit differently. We first cut out the backer board completely, then we sanded it and give it a nice coat of glossy spray paint that was Rust-Oleum brand to let that dry in front of a fan while we proceeded to do the rest of the scroll saw work, because where I'm at here, it takes longer for paints to dry than it does for stains to dry. But then we got done with the rest of the scroll saw work, and then we stained everything after sanding it with 2 shades of Minwax wood stain, and I think the 3 colors we used here really complement each other. But by all means, if you want to go the extra mile and mill down exotic or hardwoods and use those for this project, of course, by all means you can do that. And I think if you use some exotic and hardwoods, you might not even have to add a paint or a stain. You could use the natural colors of those woods to make this project pop. And by all means, you always, with each and every scroll saw project, have the option to go in with some acrylic craft paints and paint this werewolf up to make him look even more fearsome. And I know that the red eyes from the poster board are not really showing up on camera, but out here in the workshop, when the light catches it just right, those red eyes glow. And I hope you guys like that tip about me using poster board. It was just very simple for me to do that, as opposed to going in and getting some craft paint and trying to paint that background red. That was just how I went about things, and the Rust-Oleum clear gloss we added at the end for a finish really didn't affect the poster board. But again, this is the mighty werewolf of the Halloween season. Ow! And right now, while I'm thinking about it, speaking of wolves, if you have a sports team, maybe a basketball, soccer, football, or baseball team that is themed to wolves, you could cut this out and paint it as the team colors to where you would not even have to use it as a Halloween design. You could use it as a piece of decor for your man cave or game room. So I always think outside of the box when it comes to scroll saw projects, my friends. I always encourage everyone to do that and talk about a scroll saw pattern's versatility. But this is the final Halloween design for 2024. Halloween is this week, my friends. I hope you all are safe when you go out trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, or go work at a community fall festival or things like that. If you go out partying for Halloween, please do so responsibly, my friends. The world is a much more happier place with you in it, believe me, my friends. But I'm really happy with how this came out, and I hope you guys have liked all of the Halloween projects I have brought to the channel. I am really looking forward to Halloween night, to where I can honor my grandfather's memory, because again, that was when he was born, the man that taught me all the woodworking I know. And then after I can honor him, I can dress up as a pirate and go out into the world and put smiles on faces. And I hope you guys put smiles on faces as well. But that's about all for this one. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll click that subscribe button and follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one. And remember, guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you. Happy Halloween 2024, my friends. Please stay safe in your spooktacular activities. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon.